We,
Sohnia,
and Jaanuni, are a couple of pals studying science in undergrad. We are not professionals.
though every episode is meticulously researched, mistakes do happen.
If you notice that anything,
And we mean anything.
we state is inaccurate, please let us know.
Your comments, suggestions, and queries are important in furthering our personal and audience's understanding of science.
Thanks for being a part of this discussion.
We appreciate you.
We really do.
Bop, bop, beep, bop, bop.
Welcome back, friends.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? You can't respond to my question, but
Hope you're well.
Januni, you're doing well?
And I said hope they're well. If they're not, well, that sucks.
Yeah, but you know what might make you feel better listening to our previous episodes of Beaker Bros? You can find us on YouTube or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts or other areas that you get your podcasts on.
I was going to say, if they're listening already, they know where to find it, though.
Well, what if they're watching the YouTube video? What if they don't know that?
Spotify and all that stuff, then.
The what? Sorry?
I was going to say, check out on our Spotify.
They're yeah.
The fun stuff.
The hoot, it's a hoot and what's the saying? A hoot and a half. Yeah.
I was gonna say hoot like an owl, like hoot. Anyways, welcome back to this week's episode. It's been it's been a while. It's been what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
I was gonna say this week's episode is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Yeah, because we're talking about the wondrous world. Can I think of a alliteration? What's a
The vivacious.
That was the word I was thinking of too. Vivacious veganism.
We're gonna talk about veganism in case you didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm.
Catch that. It's been a while speaking to people.
Yeah. And the interesting about this, us presenting this topic is that I, Sohnia over here, am vegan.
In case you haven't realized that from our past how many episodes.
Yep, I've probably mentioned it more times than I would like to say I'm vegan, but you know what? I'll own up to it. I'm a vegan for about a year now.
Vegan and proud.
Vegans, as a definition, Jaanuni, I'm sure you could add more to this as a omnivore if you have any background. I'm babbling.
I was just
Anyways,
gonna say, from my knowledge, as an omnivore, it's individuals who don't use or eat animals or animal products.
yeah, exactly. You hit it right on the nail there. It's also like, not only is it like an element of like the stuff that you consume, but there's that stereotype of like the vegan lifestyle. So it's going for like pretty much like cutting out. It's what you said. I don't have any addition to that definition. I tried to think of something insightful, but no, you hit it on the nose.
No, but there is like a stereotype, I want to say, when it comes to when you say I'm a vegan, you think, oh, that person is a hippie, and you probably have like that image in your head right away. Sohnia does not look like that. No.
On the contrary, like I think I kind of like, I was thinking about this before. I think I really do kind of fit the vegan stereotype. Like I wear thrifted clothing quite often. Like I have my Birks. I have like long, sort of, not that long, but like flowy frizzy hair or like curly hair a little bit. I'm always kind of like I don't think I'm uptight. I think I'm pretty
but you carry yourself
happens.
I feel like.
Pardon?
You carry yourself differently, confidently. I'm not saying vegans aren't confident. I'm just saying like you're in a sophisticated way.
I'm a mature vegan. Mature.
Anyways,
what you were saying before, hopefully I didn't dismiss that, but like no, like from even my experience, even though I've only been vegan for a year, there is that stereotype of, oh, vegans are kind of like plucky, sort of like hippy dippy.
They're like angry people that are always like, why you like whatever.
Yeah, they're yelling at big pharma and big, I don't know, like the agricultural industry, or not the like farmers, but like, well, the animal industry.
Yeah,
that's who they're yelling at.
Yeah, or like they're not judging individuals who do eat meat.
Oh no, they do.
Well, I mean, Sohnia isn't one to judge people. Like I've had steak or like beef stuff in front of her, and she's like, okay, whatever.
Like, it's whatever you choose to eat. I do it for my own reasons. It would be like, it would be wrong with me to judge someone for their choice. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes they do it for just like preference. Sometimes they do it for, I don't know, health reasons. Like, certain people, it might not be feasible to go vegan. So,
I was gonna say, Sonia, why did you choose to become vegan?
it's sort of a multitude of reasons. So, like, in second year, I took a course, a science communication course that looked at, like, science in the world, or from like a global perspective, and it talked about like the biggest areas of science as perceived by the public, if that makes sense. So, like, some key topics that were discussed from like a global perspective was antibiotic resistance, nutrition, what else? Water consumption, AI, and a couple other things I forget. But the two things that really struck a chord with me were, I was looking at my hand. Anyways, two things that really struck a chord with me were the topic, or the lectures that discussed antibiotic resistance and nutrition. And the thing with antibiotic resistance, by the year 2050, the World Health Organization estimates that around 50 billion people are going to have or experience antibiotic resistant diseases every year. That's a lot of people. And the animals, especially in the United States and other like Western countries, not so much in Canada, but in other countries, antibiotic resistance is a big thing in animals because they like, why can't I think of words? Because like factory farmers, they or they fill animals up with antibiotics, and not only is it often inhumane for them to do that, but it contributes to rising levels of antibiotic resistance. The amount of antibiotics that we consume, more of it comes from animals than we get from like prescribed from doctors, if that makes sense. So
No,
like
yeah.
the animals have more antibiotics in them because
Yeah.
they're being pumped full of them. We eat that, we get more of our antibiotics from them rather than like prescribed normally from a doctor for valid reasons.
Interesting.
Yeah, so just like from hearing that and learning about certain applications of like ethics and stuff like that, and then realizing that I'm an adult, I have every choice, I have the choice to decide to eat what I want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for meat that much. Why not just cut it out entirely? So yeah, not to say that like animal or plant-based foods don't have antibiotics in them. Sometimes from like residual water or feces or whatever can get into it, and that also like you end up inadvertently eating antibiotics, but it's less found in plants often than in animals. Yeah. That was like a 10-minute answer to a 2-second question.
That is perfectly fine. Yeah, I remember when first Sonia told me she was a vegan, I was like, why is she vegan? Like, I'm always curious about like why people are vegan. Like, if I think I find it difficult to be a vegan. I love milk. Like, growing up, I love milk, and I
did too. Yeah,
but I only like cow milk.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Sonia, you have like what's the one? Oat milk is the good one, right?
Oat milk, yeah. I could go off about the different types of milks as well, but yeah, when I was younger too, my mom, like the whole milk industry really like contributed to the idea that we need to have X amount of milk every single day in order to get enough calcium, and if we don't, we're gonna get osteoporosis. Calcium is very important, and milk is a valid source of calcium, but you don't necessarily need to get it from drinking like a liter of milk a day.
But did I do that? Yes. But it's only because I enjoy milk, okay? Like I am one of the weird ones. Like I know people, if I'm like, yeah, like if you would ask me like what's my go-to beverage, it's either milk or water.
It's so refreshing.
It is.
Like on a hot day, like if you're out in the summer playing around, you come inside and the milk's like close to freezing, but like it's just really, really cold. It's so refreshing.
Or even when you're having spicy food, I find like milk.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's the best neutralizer, but it's so good because you enjoy the spicy food, but it's good.
Do you like lassi?
Yeah. That's good.
For those of you that don't know, it's kind of like a yogurt drink that's like it's yogurt and a little bit of water or milk or whatever. Is it the same like it's the same thing, right? Like
yeah.
I was just making sure like it wasn't whatever. But then you add ice to it, and it's kind of tart. So if you have it with like tandoori chicken or something like that, it like
It's
like it slaps.
so
Yes,
good.
it does.
Oh,
But
whenever
anyways, veganism.
yeah, veganism. I was like, when we get Indian food or what? Okay, I think this is like a really good spot to like insert our video. So Sonia and I, what we did, we actually did like not really a day in the life. It was just like a meals that we eat during the day, and we just wanted to compare how me, like a non-vegan, and Sonia, a vegan, eats, and like what's the big difference between them. In case you guys were like wondering,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Would you say there's much of a difference?
Well, let's put them in here.
Good morning, friends. So for breakfast, I have a pineapple bun. These are my favorite. I'm gonna actually have two of these, so yeah. Hello. Okay, it is lunchtime, and I got Burger King. Okay, so I got a bacon cheeseburger, onion rings, and like a Hershey Sundae pie. Yeah. Okay, now for dinner. We got some naan and we got some butter chicken. Excited. Milo's excited too.
Hi, good morning. So today we are, how do I flip the camera? Okay, I'll just do this. So we have my iced coffee, and then over here we have some oatmeal. Currently my oatmeal's kind of plain. I'm out of bananas. Okay, so now we're on to lunch over here. I need it. Okay, so I just got some rice and chickpeas. In between, before eating that, I would normally have a little snack because I get quite snacky. But yeah, you just kind of drizzle on a bunch of sriracha over there, and then you're good to go. Last off for dinner, we have some lentils. Stop yelling. Anyways, we got some lentils, and then underneath that is more rice because rice is tasty.
So you saw those videos?
Yeah, so like going back to like, is there a big difference between the diet? I think in the videos here there is a big difference.
Okay, to be fair,
But
I just have really bad eating habits. Okay, like if
during
sorry,
no, I almost cut you off. Continue.
I was gonna say like I eat poorly, so maybe that's why. But like, okay, let's say like my Burger King. If I were to make a burger, actually, that day I just happened to eat a lot of meat.
Yeah.
Like I usually don't. Like I maybe have like it's like, to be honest, if I were to think, like I sometimes go days without eating meat, but I do have dairy products or like animal products. Like I'm always having milk, or like there's something like cheese or some kind of like animal product.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say, from the videos, I think that was definitely an off day. Like I'm not sure if you eat that much differently at your home versus like in student housing. I would assume yes, because like I half-ass my cooking in student housing, and I'm sure you do too. But oh, my earbuds. Anyways, but what was I saying?
Student housing versus like at home.
Oh yeah, like at student housing though, like back at the McMaster house, you had avocado toast, you had your smoothies until that blender went kaput. Like I think you ate like pretty well. It was
No, I agree. I think I eat better at Mac than I do at home, and that's just I just feel like there's just more junk food available here because my parents do buy it, so I just indulge and just like don't mind if I do kind of thing. But at my student housing, I'm like, okay, I have this much money and I have to spend this. I don't like can't really buy junk food every day. Like Uber Eats, it is sponsored by my parents, okay? At Mac, it's not. So I don't get to get Uber Eats that often, but I'm just gonna say like I Uber Eats at least once a day and it's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, like in the same boat more or less, and especially like even the food that I showed in mine, like I snack so often during the day. Like I find for the most part as a vegan, like I'm pretty satiated. That's the right word. Like when you're full. Yeah, I'm pretty satiated after most of my meals. But I've found that like ever since I've become vegan, I've been eating so much more.
Okay.
Or in terms of like the how often I eat.
Oh, how often? Okay. Like how many
So
would you
pardon?
say? Would you say you have more servings?
Yeah, like I have a lot more servings. Like the size of the food that you saw in some of the videos, like I didn't have a lot of oatmeal this morning just because I didn't have my bananas, I didn't have my stuff to fill it up with, so it's kind of small.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I guess it's one thing that I've noticed. I don't think it's because like it's a lack of nutrients or something like that. Maybe it's just the food itself, but I snack so much more. Like I don't think I'm lacking vitamins or whatever.
I think it's also because junk food fills you up. Like there's more sugar in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like some aspect to that, right? Well, I'm not trying to say like, well, actually maybe I am. Like vegan food is more cleaner, or like you're more. I think with you specifically, you're more conscious of what you're eating. You're choosing healthier options.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's not filling you up because there's not as much junk in it.
Yeah,
But there's nutrients.
Sorry, I almost cut you off there, but that's one thing I do want to bring up. Like, just because someone says they're vegan doesn't mean that they're necessarily healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And just because someone says they're an omnivore doesn't mean that they're unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So just to like bring it back to like the science aspect of it, like throughout like the past decade or so, because of how popular the veganism movement has become, so much more funding and research has been pummeled into this area of research. So there's been a lot of studies coming out about the efficacy of plant-based diets.
Mm-hmm.
And though there is quite a bit of evidence supporting the fact that plant-based diets, so veganism and vegetarianism, are often sufficient in calories and nutrients, which ultimately promote better health outcomes in people. So by health outcomes, that can be like reduced incidences of obesity, cardiovascular events, stuff like that. In comparison to standard American diets, it's like when you're comparing the two, like obviously there will be inevitably better health outcomes, because in standard American diets, as we've already well become aware of, like they're pretty packed full of processed sugars, just processed foods itself, trans fats, that kind of stuff. But like solid plant-based diets are pretty high in like fiber and different vitamins and stuff like that, whatever. But I'm babbling right now. But yeah, so in comparison to the two, there is like a sufficient body of evidence saying that like plant-based diets are pretty effective.
Yeah.
However, from the research that I've done, I haven't really found any study that says like plant-based diets are better than any other diet that's sufficient in nutrients and calories and stuff like that. Like for the most,
it's not like there's no evidence.
Yeah, there's no evidence saying that like veganism is superior to any other diet if that comparator diet is sufficient in nutrients and vitamins and stuff like that.
Nor is it like inferior to other diets.
Nor is it inferior though. Yeah, that's an important note there. But you know what? Sometimes it can be, because I know with me, when I was first starting off as a vegan, I didn't go about it properly. So I was hungry all the time. I'm pretty sure I was like, for a few days, I was probably like deficient in calories just because I was having a little bit of a weird time navigating like, what's an alternative source to this, blah, blah, blah. So like over a long-term period, being deficient in calories and nutrients can lead to malnutrition and stuff like that. So people who do go about the veganism diet wrong, that could be very detrimental to your health.
That's true. I came across this one thing. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, go for it.
I was going to say, like, they were saying that, like, there's a common misconception that veganism leads to malnutrition, but I've come across that, like, a balanced vegan diet is known to boost the immune system, enable better heart function, and provide more endurance and promote healthier skin. So before, like, people get the idea that it, like, can lead to malnutrition, Sohnia's basically saying that people who are not conscious or like who are not aware what they're doing properly.
Yeah, like again, going back to when I first started out, there were like sometimes, or even now, like sometimes if there's nothing available, I'll just get like a bag of chips and that will hold me over for a little while. And obviously that's not the most nutritious thing to choose for, especially if there's like other options available, but don't let that mean that I'm like starving myself if there isn't anything available. Like obviously if it comes to that sort of situation, I'll always go for whatever is available. But
Sonia eats good.
yeah, I'm not like I'm healthy, I swear.
I'm the one that's not healthy.
Oh no. But yeah, but the one thing that another misconception that is pretty widely believed is that vegans can't put on like muscle and stuff like that. Like going back to what I was saying before, like there is that misconception that vegans are like plucky sort of twigs looking like people, like they're just like hippy dippy, like meh. There was a documentary that came out like 2 years ago. This documentary is very like contentious because the way that some of the information was presented, it is very biased. It's called Game Changers.
Mhm.
If you do decide to watch it, it's linked in our description. I would recommend that you go watching it from a very like cautious point of view because, like I said, many of the things presented are in it are biased and from one standard, which is like the plant-based perspective.
Yeah.
But that movie did do a very good job of demonstrating like so many athletes are vegans. Like there's a lot of like pretty well-rounded bulky people. I think at one point, I don't know if he still is, but like the strongest guy in the world, he was able to like carry more, like well over a ton. He's entirely vegan.
And I'm here, can barely lift 5 pounds, and I'm a meat eater.
I'm like, I'm not the strongest either. We're in the same boat.
In addition to the other misconception that vegans can't be strong and can't be healthy or whatever, what are, like there's other misconceptions that are like veganism, right? There's one. Okay, so one thing I came across is that honey is vegan. That's false.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, can you explain? Because I get it, but I thought maybe you could.
Yeah, so the idea, like, I guess to elaborate on the definition of veganism from how I understand it, it's not just, I guess I probably should have, I didn't realize, now I'm realizing I should have elaborated more on that, but like veganism goes beyond just like animals. It's like any living thing. Like if you're using any sort of, like it's to just, the whole idea of veganism is to like not use like naturally or like substances or like any part of a living thing.
Yeah, like how
right?
milk is from a cow.
Yeah,
right?
like bees are a living thing.
Yeah.
So like
Any
using,
secretion from bees we can't use.
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So yeah.
Interesting. And so would honey bees secrete honey? Why did I just say that? I was like, wait, take that back. I was gonna say, it actually says that honeybees do secrete honey naturally, but for their own consumption, the same way a human mother secretes milk for her own baby.
Have you ever seen the Bee Movie?
I actually have not.
Really? Oh my goodness.
But I know the memes.
Okay. Well, we'll watch it one day.
Okay.
That's so funny. But yeah, like it talks about bees making the honey and then the humans taking the honey.
That's bad.
That we don't want to harm the bees. Bees are so important. Did you know that bees are, I've said, what was my fact? Like 30% of like the food, we've presented this fact before on the
30% of the foods that we eat is like
from
bees
the
have
bees.
some involvement in it.
Yeah, I feel like we've presented that fact.
Hashtag save the bees.
Save the bees. We did do that. We did do an episode on the bees, and then
no, I think we did a project. Remember a project we did?
Yeah,
the watermelon.
Yeah. Hashtag save the bees. We should post that.
We should. It's a cute.
I looked it up. Sorry?
I was gonna say it's a cute little video for the people at home.
Yeah, I looked it up a little while ago. World Watermelon Day is beginning of August. So we can post that beginning of August.
Okay, guys, so expect Wally the watermelon to make an appearance.
There we go.
In August. I was gonna say, okay, obviously I think the one biggest misconception is like vegan and being vegetarian. Like there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
right? So with a vegetarian, it's just individuals that do not eat meat, right?
Yeah, like the meat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so like that, with vegetarians, they can have like milk, and butter, and cheese, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, there's
Ice cream. They can have ice cream, right?
hmm there's different labels that people give. So like if you're a vegetarian that only or that doesn't eat milk, for example, then you're ovo vegetarian. Or sorry, you're lacto vegetarian if you don't eat milk.
Oh,
If
so there's even
you
subcategories. I did not know that. Like I know that there's some vegetarians that like don't eat egg.
Yeah, so then you're ovo lact vegetarian. I hope I'm not getting that mixed up. I'm pretty sure that's right. But
When we were younger, my mom would make us try to be like vegetarians. We'll
Mhm.
be vegetarian for like Fridays or something, just for
Mhm.
whatever. And I couldn't have Eggos. And I was like, why? She's like, there's egg in them. I'm like, they're Eggos. Like, there's no, like, it's fine, mom. I
That's
did not
funny.
have Eggos on Fridays.
That's unfortunate. Another thing I want to say off top. Do you have more? I feel like I keep cutting in and out. This is
I
a
don't have
very
anything more. I
disorganized
just have
episode.
like funny misconceptions, but no, nothing else.
I'll finish your misconceptions and I'll say my last little tidbit before we end off this episode.
I was gonna say the other one is that plants have feelings. That's like a misconception. Well, okay, they were saying that plants, they don't have a central nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
but if you pick like the fruits from a tree, it's not really hurting them. It's like clipping off a nail. That's the analogy they used. Like you know how if we were to remove a part of our body, like we would feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Because plants don't have a central nervous system, they don't feel it. So it's not hurting them.
Like plants aren't conscious things.
Yeah.
They're living things. They have different cellular components and stuff like that make it a living thing, but it's not a conscious thing.
I guess we should, like we mentioned, we kind of sometimes we use the word living organism earlier for describing veganism.
Yeah.
I think we should say like animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a plant is a living organism.
But then like insects are also.
Yes. Mammals? Reptiles? Amphibians? What are
like,
they?
No, I mean like we don't eat, like vegans don't eat. That's actually a pretty important distinction. That was probably a poor choice of wording. I appreciate that you brought it up. Like insects, we also don't consume.
Yeah.
And
so
insects. So I guess, I don't know, like anything with any conscious thing.
Yes.
Okay. I feel like the vegan community probably has like a whole proper definition of their own. But like that's honestly though, like veganism can be defined any way that you want it to an extent. Like for example, for me, like some vegans, they refuse to wear like leather and stuff like that. For me, like
you're trying to do that, right?
Like for me, what I do, so if I'm ever, I don't buy like new items that are made from like leather or animal fur or like anything like that. But if I see like leather boots or something like that in a thrift store, or they're going to be thrown out and I could somehow repurpose it, I think that's better than I think giving something that was once living reuse rather than like letting it go into a landfill. I think that's more constructive.
Okay. I think like I'm like that too. Like I'm not saying I'm a vegan, but I'm saying like I like when it comes to like products like clothing or like items, I try to be like I try to make sure it's not like no animals or animal products, or like even when it comes to skincare, like I'm very conscious that there's like no animal testing. But I think the part that's not vegan is when it comes to like eating. Like I am like that. I think what also is really important to distinguish is that veganism is not just like for your own consumption. It's like also use, right? Like there's for like clothing and everything.
Yeah. No, that's so true. Clothing dyes are often tested on animals. Like so many things are tested on animals, and not like as a woman of science, like I think animal testing does have a lot of use. Like there's so many animal models that have been established that have led to the betterment of human health, whether it be flies, mice, squirrels, I'm just trying to think of like all the different species I can come up with.
Fish.
Fish, like there's so many different animal models that have served such an important use in science.
Yeah.
But as we progress in science, there's been a lot of areas where we no longer need to test as heavily in animal models. So like
Definitely.
skincare, for example, there's like new synthetic skin that scientists are
Yeah.
developing that could like replicate reactions that are experienced in human skin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Sonia?
One thing I do want to add though, so there's been like a growing, like in terms, one thing I want to add is the idea of the anti-vax movement in veganism, because like oftentimes a lot of different vaccines, they do contain animal products in them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, if you go on different online communities of vegans, sometimes there is like quite a few vegan people that think you shouldn't get vaccinated because there's animal product in the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole idea of veganism is to like promote the health and well-being of yourself, the environment, like just betterment of the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should be like, if you want to look at it from like an ethical framework, you from like a utilitarian standpoint, you want to provide the greatest good for all of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And saying no to vaccines because some of them contain animal products, I think that is a greater injustice than like not getting, or like getting or not getting vaccines is a greater injustice if you're able to than like getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna add that, so with the COVID vaccines, because I feel like maybe this is an issue more relevant, that the COVID vaccines actually don't have any animal products in it.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
But they have been, but animals were used to develop and like test them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also like, they don't have animal products, but to an extent,
Yeah.
animals were tested on.
Yeah, and I think one key, this episode's probably going to be pretty long. I'm sorry if it's going to be a pain to edit. But like, I guess is a key takeaway of this, you don't need to be vegan or plant-based to have a healthy life, because there are situations where like if you go about veganism in an improper way, it could be detrimental to your health.
Definitely.
But if you're able to, like, not to preach to whoever, but if you're able to like for example, in your iced coffee, if you've never tried oat milk, give it a try instead of Jaanuni. Like, if you've never tried oat milk, give it a try instead of using like regular milk in your coffee or whatever. Like there's little things that you can tweak in your diet to, like, if you want to be more conscious about the environment and animal use or consumption and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely. It doesn't have to be like changing your whole lifestyle. It could be small things too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you guys. We're just demystifying veganism.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I think that's an awesome way to end the episode.
Thank you, guys.
Dudes.